This episode of the Having It All podcast is sponsored by me, Matthew Bivens, and I absolutely love helping people launch and grow podcasts. My background is in digital marketing, and I'll be honest, when I was first presented with the idea of starting a podcast to grow my brand, I completely shut it down. I thought it was going to be too expensive, too time-consuming, and pull me away from what I really wanted to focus on in my business. But you know what? Shortly after launching the Digital Marketing Guy podcast, I realized that I could have not been more wrong. Podcasting quickly became my favorite and most effective way of reaching a global audience, growing my brand authority, and attracting my ideal client. Today, after successfully launching, growing, and monetizing 3 different podcasts, I help businesses and entrepreneurs do the same. To learn more about how I can help you break into podcasting, go to matthewbivens.com/podcast. Again, that's matthewbivens.com/podcast. Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Bivens here, and welcome to another episode of the Having It All podcast. I'm jazzed. I'm pumped up today. I'm happy to have everyone here, and just very grateful that you will join me in a conversation about experiencing and living an abundant, loving life. Today I want to talk about asking for help, asking for and receiving help from others, from your significant other, from the universe. And this was really inspired by my amazing, lovely, wonderful wife, Sarah, who at times sometimes has challenges asking for help. And it's really funny because it's something that it pops up in our day-to-day every once in a while. Examples or scenarios where, for example, Sarah and Maya may go to the grocery store, and I'll be home taking care of whatever needs to be done around the house. And when Sarah and Maya get home, I hear the door open, and I come out to give them a hand, and I see that Sarah has Maya in her right arm and is holding 4 grocery bags, 4 50-pound grocery bags in her left arm as she's trying to open the door, and she's using her leg to push it, and she's got her other leg closing the car door. And sometimes I look at her, I'm like, babe, why don't you just ask me for some help? And she might just sort of smirk and shake her head like, I know. And it's something we laugh at, but at the same time, it is an area where I think both of us, not just Sarah, because it's something that I am working on as well, but we're both working on reaching out and realizing that we don't have to do everything by ourselves. And we've talked about this before, and I think one of the things that comes up for us is that there's this part of us that I think enjoys the struggle. Like, there is a part of us that creates struggle or will choose the more difficult route, maybe because when we do that, we're able to wear that badge of honor that is like, yeah, I suffered through this. Even if it's a very small thing, like, bringing in the groceries all by yourself while handling the baby and trying to unlock a door, right? Like, doing those things because there's some part of us that just wants it to be more challenging. And I don't truly understand that phenomenon. I'm sure that there's been research and folks have put some time and energy to studying that stuff, but I have seen it, and I've seen it many times. I've seen it in my life. I've watched Sarah do it, and I can imagine you can conjure up examples of when you've made things harder than they really need to be. And so I just want to invite you and myself really to think of where we can ask for help and where we can open ourselves up to receiving help from others. And, one very, very simple example that I am really tuning into, it doesn't happen often for me, but Sometimes it does. And this is when I'm at the grocery store and I'm checking out, and the person who is bagging my groceries might say, "Hey, can I help you to the car?" Now, 99% of the time in my past, I would say no. No, I got this, because in all reality, I don't need the help. I can manage the groceries just fine. But what I'm starting to realize, and what I'm really starting to tap into, is that that person is giving me an opportunity to receiving, practice receiving help. And I really believe it's the universe just conspiring in my favor to put these people and these situations in my path to say, "Hey, Matthew, you don't have to do it all yourself." Even on small things like bringing the groceries to your car, you don't have to do it all yourself. And so I've practiced saying yes. I've practiced saying yes to the most simple of helpful situations, like somebody wanting to help me to the grocery store. And I've also practiced saying yes when a person, so I'll back up real quick. Sarah and I have a 10-month-old daughter, Maya. And so when we first had Maya, and even throughout all these months, we've had many people come out and say, "Hey, can I help you with something?" And so that has been an area for me to practice saying yes. And so it happened recently. A friend of ours said, "I would love to come over and babysit for you." And I immediately jumped on it and was like, "Yes, we would love the help. I don't know when, but I'll get back to you." And that's something that I have learned to do. When I'm presented with an opportunity, when somebody is offering up their help or their guidance or their assistance, even if I don't know exactly how I'm going to use it in that moment, I will still say yes. I will still say yes and follow it up with, "I don't know right now. I don't know exactly how, or I don't know exactly what it is, but I will take you up on that offer." And so that's something that I offer up to you as well. Let's start being more aware of when the universe is, like I said, conspiring in our favor. When people are offering themselves up to us. Let's be more aware of those opportunities. Like let's turn up our sensitivity dial on those things so that we can catch it when it presents itself. And then B, let's start saying yes to whatever it is. That's something I invite you to do. Start saying yes to whatever it is. Even if you are unsure on how you can receive that help, say yes, I'll think about it and get back to you. I view it as similar to the concept of gratitude or abundance. The more that we start to recognize those things, the more that they start to happen in our lives. Because now we're tuned into them more. Our awareness is up. We're more sensitive to them. So the more you start to recognize how abundant you are in life, the more you start to say thank you for all the abundance that you have, the more abundance you start to experience, right? So the more you start to recognize people going out of their way to help you, the more you start to acknowledge it and accept it, the more it's going to happen. I had a friend, his name's Larry, and Larry, he and I would cross paths multiple times a week. And almost every time I saw Larry had an example of someone giving him something. And it became this thing. Like Larry would, when I would see him, he would, we would greet each other, hugs and high fives, all that great stuff. And then he would tell me what somebody had given him that day. And it was really cool to watch, because what I was seeing is that, Larry was acknowledging the abundance that was out there. And he was acknowledging the generosity of people. And he was really opening himself up to it. And as a result, people were giving him things all over the place. Like he got floor seats to an Atlanta Hawks game. He was given many, many meals. People purchased him meals, things like that. I mean, like all from big to small, people were giving things to Larry left and right. And it was, I believe, because he was opening himself up to it. So it's just a simple example for you. And, I want you to take this episode and just chew on it a little bit and really, like I said, dial in on when the universe is saying, hey, here's someone who can help you, or I'm offering you up some help, and start saying yes to it. So I'd love to hear what things begin happening in your life as you start saying yes to help. And email me, tell me, let me know. You can contact me through my website, MatthewBivens.com. There's a contact form there that you can fill out. Or you can email me personally, my personal Gmail address, and that's mattcbivens@gmail.com. And I would love, love, love to hear those examples of you saying yes. Because it inspires me, and it gives me more examples and things to tune into. Like I'm sharing with you the grocery store example. When someone's bagging your groceries, you can start saying yes to their offer to help you to your car. But I want to hear other things because I want to be able to tune into those other areas. I know that there's areas that I'm just not aware of or not attuned to right now that through your examples, it'll just help me out. So let's create a dialogue. Let's continue the conversation. So reach out to me. And, I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening and tuning in every week and emailing me. And just, I love having the conversations and I love creating this show. So thank you so much. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all.